Alright people, in this session what we are going to do is bulk delete. In the previous session you saw we did bulk edit, so in this session we'll do the bulk delete. Okay, the bulk delete will be very simple. We'll have a structure, a grid view data, alright, inside of which we'll have the data on the right hand side. On the left hand side we'll have the delete button. So based on when you click the delete button, the record gets deleted, right? So that's normal deletion. And the second part, what are we going to do is we're going to do the same thing, but instead of the delete button in here, right, in here we are going to put the checkbox in here, and when you click the delete button on the top, it will remove the number of records you have chosen by the text box, I mean the checkbox, right? So let's go for the first part first. Alright. So let's do it. So this is my normal page, this is my solution explorer. I hope you can see my solution explorer, right? So this is a solution explorer, this is my page, bulk delete. It has nothing on it, the design is very empty, and this is my database. 1 second. It will take a while to load my database. And this is my table, TBL employee. Once I open that, I should be able to see the data, and this is some basic data which I have, which you're seeing right now. Alright, so this is something you're gonna see, right? Alright, so we got data, we got plan, so let's get started. So first thing first, what I'm gonna do is, I think I have the connection string is ready with me. Let me check, I have the connection string is ready with me in the database. Yes, I have the connection string, right? So what I'm going to do is, first we are going to create a grid view. Alright, so how do we create a grid view? Very simple. ASP colon grid view, and then I need to provide an ID. This is grid. What type of grid is this? This is delete, right? So this is a delete grid. Control KD. Let's go to the design. You can see your grid view. Some dummy column comes up, and then you need to do something. You need to hit F4 and you need to go into the property section. 1 second, my machine very much suck, so it will take a while. In the property section you go to the, alright, something is wrong with my mouse, hang on a second. A to Z, why I can't get it done. And there's a property called as auto generate column is equal to true, make it false, so it will turn down the columns, right? So basically now we have the control over the grid. So now let's do one thing. Close the solution explorer and let's go into the code behind and let's start coding. Alright. So what we'll do is, first we'll make a method called as load grid. Alright. Now this method has a job to load a grid when the page posts back for the first time, right? If the page dot is post back, alright. So when the page gets loaded for the first time, you're going to call this function, right? And this function will take care of loading the grid. So in order to work with data, I need a SQL connection, right? SQL connection is equal to new SQL connection, and I'll have configuration manager, alright, control dot connection string. I think the web.config has the connection string in the connection string section, right? So it's a connection string, and then I'll say something like this, .toString, right? So we have made the connection. Okay, so this is the connection which is ready for us. Now what are we going to do is, we'll create SQL adapter, SQL data adapter is equal to new SQL adapter, in which I'm going to write a query, very simple query. Select star from TBL, what was the name of the database? 1 second, employee, inside which it was TBL employee. So I have to write that, right? I have to write that TBL, and I'll say employee, right? I hope the spelling is correct, and comma the connection which I'm using. Alright, so once this is done, I can do is now I can let me close it down so you can see better. So this is the connection which I have wrote down. Alright, the next thing is pretty simple. I need to create a data set. I'll give it a name. Data set is equal to new data set, and in the end I'll say data set, adapter dot fill, adapter you go and fill the data set, right? And once this is done, semicolon, I hope you can see the screen, right? So once this part is done, now the thing is pretty simple. All I gotta do is grid delete dot data source is equal to data set, and in the end I'll say grid delete dot data bind, right? And it's done. So now hit rebuild, and let's rebind the grid, and let's see what happens. Actually you see nothing, but the data is there, right? So let me show you where's the data. Actually what I did was I said auto generate column is equal to false. I should have said true, right? So let's see. This time you'll find the data. So you see the data is there, right? But in reality what we want is the auto generate column needs to be false, because we want to take the control over the design and look and all, right? So now next what I'll do is I'll build the whole view myself, right? So how can I do that? Inside of Gridview there is called as a columns, inside of columns there is called as, and where is it? One second. There is template field. One second. I think I have forgotten something. Just hang on 1 second. I'm not able to make out what is it. 1 second. I think it should be ESP colon. Oh, I think I have template field. Yes, this is it. Alright. So this is what I'm looking for, inside of which I need to add item template. Okay, resharp property sucks, and inside of the item template I need to put down ESP colon label, and then I would like to say ID is equal to LBL ID, and the text would be eval of, it works like this, eval %, and then you say 1 sec, it should be, it should be something like this, eval, then hash, and then I'm supposed to say eval, and inside of which I need to pass the value as control WS database ID is something which I'm getting from the back, so it should be 1 second, come on, it should be ID, right? Control KD, and let's have a look into the server tag was not well formed. Why? What happened? Okay, alright, I think I got it. The problem was here, the quotation marks. Alright, so let's see the view. Okay, we have something, right? Alright, so I think this item template field has a header text. I would like to call it as ID. Alright, so let's do quickly, okay, the copy paste for ID, first name, last name. Let's do it for 3 fields. How many there are there, I don't know, so let's check them out. Name and expert, so let's take name and expert, so everything remains the same. My mouse is acting very crazy, so I'll say name, and I'll say expert, and in the meanwhile I need to change the labels as well. Expert, and this guy would be a name, and this guy would be a name as well, and this guy should be an expert, right? So let's build this thing and let's see how it looks. So as you can see, you have the exact same thing which we did a few moments ago using this, right? So this is how the item template comes into the picture, right? Now let's get down to the business. What we need to do was to delete something, right? Control C and stop, Control V, and this guy would be a delete button, right? Delete button. I think I stopped this guy, inside of which I would like to have a button, right? And I'll call that button as ID as btn delete. Okay, and then what I'll do is this is button. I will not bind anything to this guy, right? So this is a pretty simple text. I would like to call it as delete, and there's a thing called as command name. I will call this guy as delete emp. Okay, and I will call, one second, and I will pass the command argument as this guy. So what exactly I'm doing over here is, when you click the button, you're actually guiding the .NET framework that go in the behind and look for the event called as, the row command event, where exactly you're gonna find this command, and when you hit this command, you will get the argument as ID, whatever thing you are binding in here, right? So let's have a look at the design. So you can see the delete button is right there. So let's run this, and you can see pretty much I have a delete button, right? But it doesn't do anything. Even if I do delete, it does nothing, right? Because I haven't written anything for that. So let's write something down for that. Alright. So what we'll do is stop, we'll click the grid view, we'll hold the F4, and we'll go into the event section, and there is an event called as row command, just like I have mentioned, right? So in this command, what you can do is, alright, so what you can do is you can grab the name of a command which you gave, that was a delete emp, right? And then you come down here and you write the code. If e dot command name is equal, or better we go like this, dot equals this guy, right? If when you do any button click, this is called as like now what do we call this thing as bubbling events this phenomena. And once we do have that, what we can do is, now the thing becomes pretty easy for us, right? So I'll say is like, I'll show you what I mean by that. Just hang on. Response dot write, and I'll call e dot argument dot toString. So basically, let's run this thing and you'll get the idea what I mean, right? So when I'm running this thing, when I hit the delete, okay, so as you can see, I get the ID as 1. So I know the ID 1 is selected, so I'm supposed to delete an ID. If I select 3, this record, so this guy gets selected. If I select 6, I will get 6 in return. So now the thing is pretty easy. I know which record to delete, right? So all I gotta do is, I need to write down a query, and that will delete the job, right? So there are many ways to do this, but I will go by a simple one. I'll choose the SQL command. I'll say command is equal to new command, and then I'll say command dot command text is equal to delete from TBL employee, right, where ID is equal to @ID. Alright, so this is my command text. Command dot connection, I think you better move up, connection is equal to connection, and note down this connection is nothing but this connection. So it's pretty simple, right? Now you got connection. Now next thing you're gonna do is command dot parameters. This is generally is a recommended way, like you cannot generally do the things like plus and you get the value from somewhere. There are chances that people might do the SQL injection, so it is in good practice you always pass the value as this, and you can write your own logic for that, comma, and what would be the value. So value would be e dot command argument dot to string, right? So you got the idea. It's a pretty simple query. What exactly we are trying to do is we are getting the ID every time, right? This ID we are getting, what we are doing is we are passing the ID into the query, and we are simply gonna execute the query. So I'll say now connection dot open, then I'll say command dot execute non-query, so this will finish the job. Then I'll say connection dot close. Now generally you need to wrap this whole thing into the try catch. You need to track down the but we know this is gonna work, so I'm not writing any try and catch. I'm trying to save the time, right? So, and in the end when you do this, right, when you are done with this, you need to call a load grid method which will repopulate the grid just like you wanted, right? So let's build and let's run. So as you can see now, let's say what I'm doing is I'm deleting, I'll delete something. I'll delete the number 1 record. So as you can see the record is gone. In order to prove, control shift, no, I don't need to do anything. I just need to go to the database and I need to see if the record is gone. Right, it's gone. So actually you got my point, right? What exactly we did is, like, we did a magic, didn't do any magic. It was a simple thing. Alright, the thing was using a template field. We, in the first column, we added a button. Okay, the button has the command name. We gave a custom command name. If you do the delete, then you need to override the custom delete command. But generally I prefer this way. This way it keeps the thing pretty easy. And the command argument, where exactly you pass the ID. Alright, and there's one more thing I would like to say is I would like to comment this guy, because in real practices we never show ID to the end users, so they won't be able to figure out. So as you can see now the ID is not there, but behind the scene while binding the button you have passed the command argument. So command argument knows itself what is ID, so it becomes pretty easy for the command argument. When you hit the delete button, it comes here, it generates a command for you, the SQL command. All you need is a simple SQL parameter, right, the ID, which you are getting from e dot command dot argument dot to string, right? So that's pretty simple. And once you execute this, it does the job, and in the end you load the grid back in order to see the updated records, right? So let's go ahead and let's delete some more records. So now I'm gonna delete this RKT guy, right? So delete, yeah, it's gone. And there's one more thing, let's delete one more thing. We'll delete this guy, the hacker guy, delete. And there's one more thing I would like to show you. Is very simple. All you do is, like, let me break it down, and that is on client click you get a thing called as confirm. Alright, this is a resharper which is helping me out actually, otherwise you won't get that level of intelligence. Are you sure? Okay, I did something stupid, right? So based on your feedback, this will execute, right? Are you sure? And I'll put the question mark in, and something's wrong down there. What is it? The attribute, the quotation marks doesn't, yeah, it matches. So now if I'll go and if I run this thing, okay, so what happens is I'll try to delete this guy called as Naresh, right? Come on. So it gives me a prompt, what I just said. If I do cancel, the whole operation gets cancelled. The code behind code will never execute it. Whoops, it did get executed. And how did that? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to say return. How stupid of me. Alright, so let's run this thing again. Accidentally that dude got deleted, right? So let's cancel and let's do this thing again. Now if I say I want to delete this Telerik boy guy, right? So what I'll say is delete. Now if this time he deletes, then I'm angry. Okay, so it didn't delete anything, so everything is like where it is. But now I would like to delete the Telerik boy, and it should work. Yes, and it did work. It did remove the guy. So I hope you got the idea, like what exactly we did. It is pretty simple thing. The more you have control over the templates, the item template, the edit item template, you can do a lot of things. It is pretty easy. All you need to do is you need to set up your command name, and you need to pass the command argument, and in order to make sure that user does not delete the record accidentally, you providing a JavaScript return confirmation function. This guy returns true or false, right? Based on that, it will let the thing go or not, right? And let's refresh the database. There are a lot of records are gone. This guy is gone, this guy is gone. Let's refresh, and it is waiting, and as you can see, a lot of guys are gone, right? So this demo works pretty good. In the next video, what I'm gonna show you is, this was the first one, this was the second one. And this, what I'll do is I'll keep the checkboxes instead of the delete button, so like manually you don't have to go and delete each and record every time. So all you do is in one shot you select all the checkboxes which you want to delete and hit the delete button, and it's done for you. The logic will be pretty much same. So next time I'll see you, right? And plus, if you like this video, then do me a favor, give me a thumbs up to my videos. If you think this video was cool, then share with your friends or the people who need the help. Alright, subscribe me for YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Add your comments and let me know your thoughts. If you have any video, this was a request given by a subscriber, so I made this video. Alright, if you are expert, then you can suggest your idea. I'll try to improve. Thank you for watching. Bye bye now.